multitude of factors that cause him to be the #1 player in the world right now. But enough of the setup. I think we're going to just go ahead and get straight into it. It's Grand Finals at Frame Perfect Series 2. Our doubles bracket is coming to a thrilling conclusion as ZeRo and Su trying to keep their winner's bracket lives on the line, scoring off against Ranai and Komorikiri, who are fighting from the loser's side.
Yeah, but already a super strong start from Red Team. Both members of Blue almost reaching 100% here.
That's right.
Such a strong start.
Oh, super strong, you know, and again, whenever you're talking about Lucario, he has some really interesting attributes, right? A lot of options that you think would KO most characters. Lucario just somehow just can tank some of these options. Like that up smash that Como did, another character probably would have died immediately, but Lucario's like, I guess I can kind of shrug this off. Another thing that just makes him really scary. Smart counter there from Su.
And actually almost taking out Ranai. There they go, dude, neutralizing that first Lucario stock.
And man, you know, you talk about ZeRo playing evasive, but he wasn't able to evade for free. He's in the red zone already.
Absolutely, these combos from Como and Ranai are absolutely incredible.
And they're getting the juggles here on Su, which isn't a bad thing, but I think maybe this is when you start to focus fire really on ZeRo.
You see, I love Ranai holding Su in. Gets his teammate in that back air. I suppose that's a fair trade. ZeRo is at 140-ish.
Yeah, I think it's a good trade. We'll take it. Whatever. Keep playing. But you're right? Ranai, when he gets the grab, instead of just letting Su go immediately, he's just like, I'm just going to keep you in timeout for a second.
Yeah, he's waiting for his teammate to try and get in the position. He wasn't able to that time, but the awareness that shows
is incredible. It's the do not pass go. Don't collect $200. Or, you know, my teammate's stock, don't do that either. Right now, Ranai and Como having firm control of the stage. And look at Como just using the range advantage that he has to completely box out the blue team and keep them on this corner. But wow, Su! He doesn't throw out those back airs as often as other Lucarios, but the difference is whenever he does throw it out, he almost always connects. The precision on this guy, the option coverage, it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, but he is getting towards that percent where Red Team has to deal with him. And that axe will take it out. So Red Team in a very good position here.
And an even better one, Ranai, the bowling ball coming into play, and he's doing exactly what he needs to. He's playing the stock tank, but we got to look at Como on his final stock here. He could be the weak link that this blue team needs to exploit in order to get back into the game.
Yeah, but that's the game plan from Red Team, though. Ranai always just stays with his first stock until, you know, Como takes it.
And look
and the
at
edge
that.
guard.
That's what we were talking about. Taking ZeRo's recovery options off the table. If there was anyone in the world that was so equipped to do that, it would be Ranai on this villager.
Now Su up against 4 red stocks. Lucario's pretty good at comebacks, but I don't know.
I don't know about this. I mean, have you seen these players? They're not your average Joes. They're on that next level. And let's not forget, Ranai can actually pocket, if he wanted to, the aura. So that takes off one of Su's best options off the table as well. Back throw.
Actually throws him away from his teammate trying to get the climb hazard there, but...
And a bowling ball. Done. Done. Ranai. He's seen it all. He knows what to do. He keeps the level head, the level composure. He doesn't let aura scare him there. And that's exactly what you need to do. I think that way that team handled Su and ZeRo is something that's going to be studied by a lot of folks.
Yes.
Because they played that matchup incredibly well.
Yeah, Ranai not even losing his first stock. He was still at 3 stocks.
And you're telling me the last time these two played on the winner's side just went to game 5?
Absolutely.
It was down to the wire?
It was back and forth. It was 1-1, 1-1.
Or was it ever a blowout like that, though?
No, it wasn't. They were all really close.
So maybe ZeRo and Su just needed a moment to warm up. We're going to switch over now to Battlefield. Now, how do you think this is going to play out for each of these teams?
It's interesting. So in Winners Finals, I was thinking that this would benefit Red Team more, but it was actually the blue team that counterpicked it. And they won twice on Battlefield.
Whoa! Ranai shutting down Su so hard there with that spike.
I was saying, blue team did win twice in the set on Battlefield.
Man, those sandwiches. Good lord. The damage that's being racked up. And, you know, they're racking up the damage on Su, but also keeping in mind that they got to rack the damage up on ZeRo here as well. That's why Ranai, you know, usually maybe a bit more reserved playing towards the ledge. Seems like he's playing with a bit more vigor here, right? A bit more bloodthirsty, trying to lock down ZeRo.
Como with the limit on deck could take out Lucario pretty soon, actually.
Oh, cross slash being burned there. A very valuable resource, especially as Su's percentage and rage and aura starts to climb. A huge back air, a bit of friendly fire. I don't know if it was completely worth it, but Sue was drawing blood regardless.
I feel like anytime you can take Ranai's stock, it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first stock he's lost in this set. Keep that in mind, people. Insane. Forward smash coming out from ZeRo.
Como staying alive, though.
That's huge.
He does have limit to recover as well.
The elongated blast zones maybe coming back to bite the blue team for the counter pick. And again, Como surviving the up smash here, too. And with Como being the primary finisher in a lot of these cases on stage, it could be disastrous, but Sue so quick to find finishes himself, and he's actually going to go and get the double play. Picking up Ranai in the process as well, and this is something we touched on before the set even started. You get the short-term benefits for long-term losses. That's the danger of taking Lucario out so early on.
Yeah, surviving at 155 here. Oh, the Nair from Ranai finally taking him out, but he already got 2 stocks from that aura limit, so...
Wow, Ranai, did you see how
accuracy,
precise?
he wasn't even on screen.
Yeah, those slingshots were absolutely perfect. And that's why I think he's so good whenever it comes to trying to deal with ZeRo. And hang on, did he just put a full stick of butter on that F smash and let it rip?
Both members of Red Team just jumped right in.
Man, he got hit by the little cousin strat. That's not something you see too often. But either way, last stocks all around the table.
This is more like the winner's final set, how it went.
Yeah, down to the wire. This is what we like to see. Sue and ZeRo definitely warmed up in a prime position to put some points on the board here, but there's Ranai trying to consistently pester ZeRo. And you're noticing that ZeRo doesn't want to deal with his recovery via the jetpacks getting interrupted, so he's going more for the monkey flip recovery here.
Yeah, if you get hit out of the jetpacks, you are in a very bad spot, so...
The angling, the arc that we saw from ZeRo rather than going for the linear straight recovery, the slight arc allows him to avoid the turnips from Ranai. But there, the up smash. Not enough quite to take the stocks. Como getting a good dash attack just to alleviate pressure temporarily.
The tree!
Smart. For a minute, I thought they were going to fully press the advantage on ZeRo and take him out, but instead they saw the moment to just keep ZeRo at bay and lock down Sue. A great play from Ranai and Como. And they're looking really stellar here. ZeRo having to make the 2v1. It's going to be tough, and it's not going to happen. Ranai, a great up air, and the team from Japan is now 1 game away from resetting this bracket.
Yeah, I'm winning on the counter pick battlefield there, wherever they've lost twice in winners finals. Really shows the adaptation that Ranai and Como have made against these two, ZeRo and Sue. It's fantastic stuff.
So definitely a closer game there, Asmo, but still going in favor of Como and Ranai. What are the real factors that contribute to that? We saw, of course, Ranai with the surgical executions of ZeRo stocks off stage, but what else was a real factor in making that game go the way that it did?
It was really so close. It felt like ZeRo and Sue really had it at the start, but then, you know, there's these big swings. You know, Ranai will get an edge guard, Como will get that early finishing touch or cross slash. And these just swings and momentum, Red Team just takes it and runs with it.
And also, let's not forget, there's been friendly fire two games in a row.
Yep.
They're going to need to figure out ways to maybe have some of these cleaner KOs, right? If you get the KO on your Red Team member, but you're KOing your teammate at the same time, is it really always worth it?
And it could be that ZeRo actually is maybe at fault in that regard, but being a little bit too aggressive running in, because he's kind of run into the back air from Sue both times. Yeah,
you bring and of course that again goes with the fact that these two have never teamed before. There's also the language barrier as well. A lot of factors. The fact that they made it to grand finals regardless of all these setbacks is nothing short of incredible.
Yeah, it's just a testament to their individual skills and adaptation.
Wow, Ranai! That was absolutely gorgeous. One of the most beautiful stage spikes I think I've seen. The first little slingshot to set it up and the second to send him down. Meanwhile, though,
with an up air, he was trying to save his teammate, but it was a little too powerful. Ended up taking him out instead.
So now again, a dead even game from a stock standpoint, but of course, Sue on the Lucario, the X factor here. The damage, the KO potency that he's going to be able to possess.
Yeah, only at 30 though, he's actually not really scary in that regard yet.
True.
The aura doesn't start scaling until much later.
Oh man!
But when Ranai's that high in percent, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And also remember, because he's down a stock in contrast to his teammate, he gets a little bit of a boof.
Yeah.
A boof, a buff. I think a boof is probably how you'd say it in French, right? A boof. Back into the game itself, ZeRo and Sue now going even with Ranai and Como. And like you said, this is very indicative of what we saw in winners finals.
and last game too. It's very, very similar. We're just waiting to see which team really gets that swing and momentum that we were talking about.
Right now I feel like it might be ZeRo and Su. I mean, if you look at the damage in particular on Como, puts him in a really bad spot. He's going to be trying to play the range game more than anything else. It's going to come down to whether or not this blue team can break his zone.
That does mean, though, that Como now with full rage. He doesn't have limit quite yet, but he's still very, very scary as far as K-Open's potential, but does lose the stock there.
Yeah, the trade, ZeRo is going to be able to take that, no problem. Gets a bit of damage, gets a stock in exchange. Totally fine. And Su, again, really high percentage. Rage and Aura, compounding factor here.
We're not going for his edge guards again. Su has to make it back.
It'll be pretty tough. Patience from Ranai. He's playing very respectful of Su, it seems.
Yeah, absolutely. When Lucari's at 140, you gotta be.
Yeah, but there's a fine line, right? When it's respect and it's too much respect, right? And being able to make that judgment call again, very critical on whether or not this team can get the 3-0. Great spike! A near tech, but just a bit too quick, I feel.
That was actually a footstool down there. The footstool would have taken him out, but Su missing the tech anyway. A little more interesting that way, I suppose.
A little bit. The technicality. It's nice. And now final stocks for ZeRo and Su. Are they really going to be going into this loser's bracket in such a way?
Looking like it's a very, very possibility here.
Yeah, definitely. But let's not forget, Su taking that stock from Ranai. Certainly a big play. Ranai, as we mentioned so many times, he tends to play more of a stock tank role, but whenever you're going against a Lucario who's this amped, who's this juiced, you can find that role fading quickly into obscurity. Oh, nice. Ranai trying to hunt down. Perfect! And this is what we've been touching on the entire set. Ranai off stage is one of the most terrifying players, and he just may be more terrifying than Su with that Rage and Aura.
And now up to ZeRo against two stocks here. Has to make it through the edge guards here. Makes it on stage. This is definitely doable, but not if you're going to monkey flip into a cross slash.
And it's a rock and a hard place really for ZeRo. He knows if he commits to the jetpacks there, Ranai is there to do what he's been doing this entire tournament, this entire set long.
We saw that a lot in winners finals too. Ranai would make it very, very hard for Su to recover. Su would have to recover high. And then Como was waiting there with a smash attack to get rid of the stock. But that was a 3-0.
That's huge. That's huge. And
3-0 bracket reset.
And that felt decisive as well, right? I'm looking at Como, I'm looking at Ranai, and they're playing on fire right now. Yeah. Absolutely, right? But that being said, ZeRo and Su, it feels like each game gets a little bit closer. So maybe as we reset this bracket and both teams are sent into losers for this final set of grand finals, things may start to change a little bit. I really hope we get to a Game 5 in the second set. Yeah. That'd be phenomenal.
Not quite a Game 10 anymore, but we got the second set.
Got the second set. Set of champions. Did you eat your Wheaties? I did not. I skipped breakfast, and I suffered horribly for it.
I had some breakfast, so.
It's good.
We're in there.
We're in there. We're in there. For those of you who are just tuning in, this is Frame Perfect Series 2. We're coming to a thrilling conclusion of our doubles tournament. Ranai and Komorikiri sent to the losers bracket by the team that they just reset the bracket on in a decisive 3-0 manner. Can they keep the momentum? Can they really push forward? I got to talk really quickly as we take a minute to choose the stage. What were some of the key talking points that allowed them to have such a decisive win in the first set?
I think really it was just the edge guards from Ranai over and over again, getting these early kills and not allowing blue team to really get anything started. The off-stage game is just way too strong from red team.
Yeah, and on stage as well, we got to talk about Como when he's able to sneak in there and get these quick little shots. That just feels like at times blue has nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. If they're on stage, Como's there with the sword, with the cross slashes, and off stage it's Ranai all day with the turnips and slingshots.
Yeah, but pretty even start here on Smashville. Same as last set. Starting on Smashville, last set, of course, Como and Ranai did win on the stage.
Yeah, that was kind of a bloodbath in favor of Ranai and Como.
Yeah, that was the force. Yeah, ooh, and forward throw into finishing touch, taking on Lucario at 73.
That's big.
That's how you neutralize a Lucario. Don't
Definitely.
even let him get any aura.
And that's what Cloud presents, and maybe why Cloud can be a real thorn in Lucario's side is Lucario excels whenever he's able to survive for these high percents, and Cloud is so good at taking your stock and blowing it out like a candle.
Yeah, and that's why Cloud needs to be the target for blue team. They have to get rid of that potential in the same way that red team has to get rid of Lucario's potential.
Man, but it's hard sometimes because you have to go through this wall, this trash compactor style that Ranai brings to the table. I mean, he's just so scary and so formidable to deal with.
And for the first time, Ranai actually losing his stock before Como.
Yeah, certainly
Uncharacteristic.
This is maybe a change in the game plan, perhaps, trying to focus fire on Ranai.
It's definitely possible. And ZeRo taking out Como there. Blue team back on the path that they need to be, I think.
No, definitely. I'm glad already this game, eons closer than the first time these two duked it out in this set. On this stage. Ranai, oh man, how did he get out of that? Usually that aura charge goes right into that up smash. Ranai though, dropping down with the down air. Su able to survive regardless. He has a good amount of aura, a good amount of rage. I think the back air here should be enough to take out
either of them,
especially if it's near the ledge where they were previously.
He's looking for it. You saw it there. Yeah. Almost connecting.
But Como, of course, having that range advantage. Su, regardless, able to sneak in a KO onto Ranai.
This is scary for ZeRo.
Still going to be able to make it back. That's what we're talking about when we look at ZeRo, right? Great control of the neutral game, but amazing control of his character as well, knowing just the limits and how far he can really go with his recovery.
And once again, very, very close game. This is very indicative of the last two games we saw in the set, but good to see that blue team is making the adjustments they need to be. ZeRo,
you know, in that moment, I thought this is when the pressure's really going to be hitting Como. And indeed, that little bit of aura charge that they just let out, that tiny little aura sphere that could. And wow, Como forced off stage over and over again by this blue team. And that's going to put Ranai in a 2v1 scenario.
Yeah, Ranai was actually going to save his teammate, but Su getting in the way, being such a nuisance, stopped that from happening. And now Ranai in such a bad position.
We talked about it before, how every game gets a little bit closer to being in favor of ZeRo and Su. And for this first game, it looks like it's just about there.
Yeah, this looks like maybe the tipping point. Oh! Imagine, though, the double shield break.
I would lose my cookies entirely. I would not be allowed to have sweets for the rest of my life. I would have destroyed me. Down tilt connecting into the up smash. Not enough quite to kill Ranai here. He's still hanging on. You know, with Rage, that's like that comeback factor, right? Not nearly as impactful, say, as Aura, but it's going to maybe allow Ranai to sneak in a surprise KO here.
Yeah, especially with Ranai does have powerful aerials. The turnips can be very, very scary, especially with Rage and bowling balls as well.
Oh, man. And what's really scary for Ranai here is that he can't really commit to a grab. Because the second he goes for the grab, because it takes a bit longer than some of these other grabs, that's when he's going to be a sitting duck. Grab, oh, a bit of miscommunication there. Could have been the stock, but ZeRo's going to clean it out. A well-placed forward air. And Su and ZeRo will finally be on the board for the first time in this Grand Final series.
And that's that kind of little mishap with the team throw there is kind of indicative of these two have never teamed before. Yeah. And so they're relying on their player sense and their individual skill, and it's gotten them this far. But you kind of wonder if if they had teamed before, whether that would have been the stock or whether they can get better combos off. But there's definitely room to grow, which is really interesting.
Yeah, and that's also the most terrifying part about this team, the fact that they do have this room to grow so much. For your first time teaming together to get to Grand Finals,
winner's side,
insane. Running it back now to Smashville.
This was very addictive also of winners finals. They would lose or Como and Ranai would lose the first game, and then counterpick or run it back and then win. Then ZeRo and Su counterpicks on the other stage, and they would win, and then Como and Ranai run it back and win. So we'll see if the pattern continues here.
I think that's the best Smash, right? When it's back and forth, when it's not too one-sided. And again, a big shout out to these teams for traveling so far to be here and putting on such an amazing show for us thus far. Como, however, have to look at him. Not only is he the damage dealer primarily for this team in a lot of these cases on stage, but also he's a bit of the weak point as well. We saw in that last game that Su and ZeRo did a great job of exploiting Cloud's rather limited recovery whenever limit is off of the table.
Yeah, and Ranai not able to get as many edge guards in this set than the first set of Grand Finals here. We'll see if those become more of a thing, but Definitely Como is losing his stocks much earlier. There it is. Right as we were talking about it.
That's what Ranai does so well. Just basically the way he approaches, I think, and the way he kind of falls with you ever so slightly, he just intercepts you as you're trying to figure out some sort of way to make it back. And the more you think, that leaves more room for him to go ahead and nail you with a slingshot. It's scary, man.
And the more you wait, the fewer options you have, and you can cover them easier.
Yeah. You hear the Jaws theme a little bit in the background, I'm sure. It's scary. And surprising from Como, he had limit available, but he decided not to rush over and quickly use it on ZeRo, who had just caught Ranai with the up smash. Perhaps being a little bit wary of Su.
That is definitely a possibility. Su does have an Aura Sphere charged up, so that would be a punish.
ZeRo and Su holding on to a slight lead, but that lead could definitely turn into a massive one if ZeRo is not taken care of. Ugh.
Not able to recover there. Renai just getting in the way, cutting off options.
And that's the thing, right? ZeRo has to make these very unorthodox recoveries just to get around Ranai. And the problem with that is, you know, as we saw there, sometimes you just don't put enough gas in the tank and you end up throwing away the stock yourself. Ranai's sheer presence itself is pressure.
Yeah. And cutting off options and having a teammate like Como who is ready to cover the remaining options is definitely such a good strategy.
Right now, man, he was sandwiched between ZeRo and Su. That's one of my least wanted places to be between. I'll be honest. That's a really scary spot.
Did he up throw? Oh, again? The run back twice in a row?
The double.
What a swing!
And that's what we're touching on, right? You think that you're keeping up with this team. You looked at it in the mid game and it seemed even, but the KO power, it's something that really should not be messed with here.
That's the best hoo-ha there is. Did he up throw to Lucario up there?
Yeah, it's super broken. Man, look at this damage.
Yeah, Tsu with 145. Lose the stock there, all right.
That's good.
Doesn't have to worry about Aura, but it's still a 2v1 against 3 stocks.
This is, again, very, very tough. Nice. You see how Como is kind of mixing up whether he's going to be focus firing on Su or whether he's just going to switching it up and trying to focus up on ZeRo.
Yeah, and Cloud's amazing aerial mobility can help him out with that. He can switch easily between the 2 targets.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with the limit, who increases it even more.
The wait, wow.
That was actually really smart, though, because if you commit to the throw, you can get punished from the teammate.
Yeah. And the grab alone, like that's gonna maybe decondition them from using shield, which will allow Como to sneak in the cross slash that he needs to get back into this game. Not gonna happen though. Great back air.
Still alive.
Yeah, he's gonna need to use the limit there from a defensive maneuver rather than an offensive option. And honestly, I think that may be the curtain call really for Como. I don't know how he's gonna be able to bring it back. He has to build up all that limit all over again.
He's doing a very, very good job of surviving,
yeah,
to be honest.
I agree. I gotta see the damage.
Como's still alive against all odds.
Yeah, this is probably one of the longest 2v1s I think I've seen.
That'll finally be it. So despite the 3-0 that was just happened, it's now 2-0 in favor of ZeRo and Su.
So maybe the reverse sweep?
Double reverse
360 sweep scope? I don't even know. I don't even know what to call it.
But we were talking about ZeRo's adaptation earlier. And it is absolutely present here. You know, to go from getting 3-0'd by this team to now on the potential of 3-0'ing them back.
Are there any particular changes that you've been able to pick up on from ZeRo's gameplay?
Not exactly. It's just overall, it seems that they're covering more options. And they're not allowing Red Team to really start what they want to get done.
This is it. Maybe the last game of our entire doubles tournament here at Frame Perfect Series 2. Como and Ranai going to go ahead and counterpick here to Battlefield. And I think that this is a really smart decision, right? Cloud certainly benefits a lot from these platforms to be able to get some really good platform coverage overall, as well as some escape options to charge up limit. But at the same time, this can potentially elongate those Lucario stocks, which can make it really, really scary of a counterpick. So a bit of a double-edged sword. Let's see which way is actually going to be swinging.
Yeah, and that's kind of stage picking in a nutshell, though. It's always a double-edged sword. It's always good for both teams in some manner, I feel like. There are very few cases in which it's very, very one-sided, but
Ranai. Man, he was able to get the shield against ZeRo, and he went for the bowling ball there, surprisingly. I think it may have been some sort of a stall tactic of sorts, perhaps to whittle down the shield a bit so that Como was able to sneak in some extra shots.
See, Red Team is focusing on Su really, really hard. They want to get rid of Lucario. They don't want a repeat of last game, the up throw to up airs.
It's scary, man. Way too scary.
Como's still alive at 170.
It's huge. But the problem is that Red, they're going to have to fight their way out of this corner. Huge downer, though, but Su will go ahead and end the stock of Como.
And unfortunately, he actually ran into the gyroid from Ranai there. Explosion taking out Como.
Ouch.
And Su is still alive. They haven't taken care of this Lucario, and 141 is a very scary place. All that damage. Como at 50.
It's way too much. You have to figure out a way to stop the bleeding right now.
Yeah, Aura does not just scale knockback, it scales damage as well. And we see that from that going 9 to 50%, about 3 hits.
Yeah, you can't really let it snowball too much. It feels a bit like what's happening right now. Como, however, limit available, but Su's not even going to give him a chance to use it. That was such a well-placed aerial.
97% on Cloud, and he's out of there. This is looking grim from Red Team. They need to get rid of Su.
So we're talking about with the counter pick, right? Su just has these extra dimensions, the extra size of Battlefield. It's really helping him stay alive a bit longer. Ranai, however, able to temporarily quell the demon that is Su.
Yeah, only at 202% though. That's not when you want to kill this Lucario. Maybe half of that would be better, you know?
Yeah, or you know, a third, preferably, if possible.
They absolutely cannot let that Lucario run rampant, though. Ranai still doing a good job of stock taking, though. This is back to like the more classic play of Como and Ranai that I'm used to.
Yeah, with Ranai playing the stock tank role consistently. Como trying to be the damage dealer, but look at this. They're able to actually almost stagnate how they're attacking each other, right? So they're setting up for what looks like constant 2v1s over and over and over again. You'll see one player of Red off stage, and then the other immediately falls.
Su actually losing his second stock there. That was really early from that out smash from Como, but it's actually fairly even.
It's true.
Despite how much it seemed like it wasn't.
Yeah, but again, talking point here going to be Su. The fact that he's a stock behind here on his teammate gives him a bit of an extra boost. I don't know if it's going to be enough to take a stock out yet, but he's still putting on a lot of damage.
Yeah, absolutely. And ZeRo being so evasive, keeping his stock here, keeping that buff to Su.
Limit available for Como, but look at ZeRo. So good with the forward airs. Ranai, he's not going to have any more of them. Trying to punish, but Su cleaning up Como, and now it's Ranai in a 2v1.
After winning 3-0 in the first set, victory now slipping from Como and Ranai's grasp. The adaptation from Blue Team was too strong.
Much too strong. Up throw, up air, not enough yet.
Not quite Battlefield saving him there, but there's not a whole lot that Ranai can do here. He has the banana peel, that's a good start, but
incredibly tough spot for Ranai. I mean, this 2v1, to do this, it seems almost insurmountable at this point. 3 stocks against the lone stock from Ranai, but the percent is just right. The rage is available. Oh, man.
That would have taken out ZeRo, but he manages to get out of it. Banana peel tripping Ranai.
Oh, and that's going to be the tournament. ZeRo and Su, despite getting 3-0'd in the winner's side of Grands.
3-0 right back
in set 2. What a performance. What a tournament. Congratulations again to Su and Ranai. Sorry, Su and ZeRo.
Su and ZeRo.
For doing such an exceptional job here at Frame Perfect Series 2. But, you know, I still have Ranai on my mind. He played amazing. Same with Como. He played incredible throughout the tournament. It just came a bit short at the end there. Yeah. Being able to retake it.
Absolutely incredible play throughout the whole tournament, though. That whole top 4 was incredible. The whole top 8 was incredible. All of these matches were fantastic.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You know, honestly, I get a little sad whenever people tend not to tune in as often for doubles.
I love doubles. It's my favorite.
It's fun.